Vince McMahon resigns amid sexual misconduct allegations. The full story. The name Vince McMahon is synonymous with professional wrestling. For over 4 decades, he built WWE into a global entertainment powerhouse, revolutionizing the industry, creating icons, and pushing the boundaries of sports entertainment. But in 2025, the story took a dark turn. Allegations, investigations, internal turmoil, and now, the unthinkable has happened. Vince McMahon has officially resigned from WWE. Following a wave of sexual misconduct allegations he continues to deny. In this in-depth breakdown, we explore the full story. What exactly led to Vince's resignation? What are the allegations and how did they surface? How did WWE react? And what happens now to WWE, to Vince McMahon, and to the legacy of the most powerful man in wrestling history? Let's dig deep into one of the most dramatic events in WWE's modern era. Before we get to the controversy, we must understand who Vince McMahon is and why this resignation is seismic. Vince took over the then WWF from his father, Vince McMahon Sr., in the early 1980s. He immediately transformed the business from a regional operation into a nationwide spectacle, creating WrestleMania, pushing Hulk Hogan into superstardom, and later launching the Attitude Era with names like Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, and Triple H. He didn't just promote wrestling. He redefined it. He turned a niche sport into mainstream entertainment. He went from promoter to character, portraying the infamous Mr. McMahon, a tyrannical boss fans loved to hate. He became a billionaire, a media mogul, and the architect of WWE's global expansion. So when news broke in mid-2022 that Vince McMahon was under investigation for alleged misconduct, it wasn't just a scandal. It was an earthquake. The first public crack in the armor appeared in June 2022, when the Wall Street Journal reported that WWE's board was investigating a $3 million hush money settlement paid by Vince McMahon to a former employee with whom he allegedly had an affair. The report stated that the woman, a former paralegal, was paid to sign a non-disclosure agreement, NDA, and remain silent about the relationship. But that wasn't all. The Journal's investigation uncovered multiple other NDAs, reportedly involving millions of dollars, paid to former WWE employees who alleged sexual misconduct and harassment by Vince McMahon and, in some cases, former head of talent relations John Laurinaitis. The allegations were serious, the details disturbing. WWE's board of directors launched an internal investigation, and the company's stock fluctuated amid the media storm. Vince McMahon temporarily stepped down from his role as CEO and chairman, though he still oversaw creative and appeared on TV. At the time, he released a statement. "I have pledged my complete cooperation to the investigation, and I will accept the findings and outcome, whatever they are." But the damage was done. On July 22, 2022, just weeks after the first story broke, Vince shocked the world. He announced his retirement from WWE. At 77 years old, the man who had ruled WWE for over 40 years was stepping away. He tweeted, "At 77, time for me to retire. Thank you, WWE Universe. Then, now, forever, together." For the first time in decades, WWE moved forward without Vince. His daughter Stephanie McMahon became co-CEO alongside Nick Khan. Triple H Paul Levesque assumed control of creative. And under their leadership, WWE thrived. Fans and critics alike praised the product. Morale reportedly improved. The future looked bright. But Vince wasn't done. In a move that shocked insiders and fans alike, Vince McMahon returned to WWE in January 2023, just 6 months after his retirement. He used his power as majority shareholder to reinstall himself as executive chairman, reshuffling the board to support a potential sale of the company. It was widely believed Vince came back to oversee WWE's sale to Endeavor, the parent company of UFC. That merger eventually happened, forming TKO Group Holdings, which now manages both WWE and UFC under one umbrella. While Vince claimed he wouldn't return to creative control, reports swirled that he was once again influencing storylines, making changes to scripts, and attending shows. Many fans and even some talent were unhappy. But the situation grew darker in 2024. In early 2024, New lawsuits were filed, bringing the allegations back into the spotlight. One particularly explosive case came from a former WWE staffer who alleged sexual abuse, manipulation, and career sabotage. While some of the cases were civil, the accusations painted a deeply troubling picture. Vince continued to deny all wrongdoing, stating he had never forced himself on anyone, and that all relationships had been consensual. But the pressure mounted. More stories began circulating, including claims of NDAs being hidden from shareholders and improper use of company funds. Legal experts suggested the allegations could have criminal implications depending on the outcomes of ongoing investigations. And while Vince had weathered storms before, this one wasn't going away. Behind the scenes, WWE and TKO Group were under increasing pressure. Sponsors raised concerns. Stockholders wanted clarity, and public trust was faltering. Executives reportedly urged Vince to step back. Again, unlike in 2022, though, this time the company wasn't entirely dependent on him. Under Triple H's leadership, creative was flourishing. Under Nick Khan, business deals were thriving. And with the Endeavor merger complete, Vince's role was more symbolic than functional. By early 2025, reports began to circulate that internal discussions were taking place about Vince's future. Would he step down? Would he be forced out? The answer came swiftly. On April 28, 2025, WWE and TKO Group issued an official statement. Effective immediately, Vince McMahon has resigned from his positions at WWE and TKO Group Holdings. Mr. McMahon will no longer be involved in any operational or board-level capacity. It was direct, unambiguous, and stunning. This time there was no vague tweet, no cryptic farewell, just a clean break. For many, it marked the true end of the McMahon era in WWE. The man who had micromanaged every element of the company for 40 years was finally out, for good. Following the resignation, Vince McMahon released a personal statement to the press. While I continue to deny the allegations against me, I believe stepping away from WWE is in the best interest of the company, the shareholders, and the fans. I leave knowing the organization is in capable hands, and I am proud of the legacy we've built. The statement was brief and lacked the bravado Vince was known for. There was no apology, no direct acknowledgement of wrongdoing, just a firm denial and a promise that WWE would move on. So what happens next? First, let's talk leadership. Nick Khan continues as WWE president. Triple H remains in full control of creative direction. Ari Emanuel, CEO of Endeavor and TKO, oversees the big picture from a business standpoint. In short, WWE's structure is stable. The McMahon name no longer carries operational weight. Second, the product. Fans have already embraced the post-Vince creative style. Storylines have become more consistent. Younger talent are being pushed, and long-term booking has returned. Third, the legacy. That's where things get complicated. Vince McMahon's contributions to wrestling are undeniable. He changed the game forever,